Whew, man, if I had a singing voice, Max, you'd be feeling pretty good in this room at this
If we
point.
had singing voices, we wouldn't be on the radio right now.
Well,
that's
hey,
for sure.
everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Max Sobel, happy Valentine's Day to you.
Stephen Wallman, my brother, happy Valentine's Day to you as well.
Thank you, my friend. A gentle reminder to everyone, this information that we'll discuss today on the show is not to be taken as professional medical or legal advice.
Right. You want any professional advice? Everybody on this station knows talk to Rod Barowie. There's
That's
a plug
right.
for you, Rod.
Well, we are live today in the studio. Noah's taking calls. Our phone number is 443-743-2444. I believe the website's working now, too. So if you're listening to anywhere in the world, you can call that number. To get our
company, right? And I love the plug early in the show, but there's another number you want to let the audience
they
know.
won't be able to get on the radio that way.
That's right. You want to say the number? Or you want
I can.
Okay.
It's 410-922-6680. That's 410-922-6680. If you listen to this station, you hear it all the time.
See, that was your subconscious trying to get our phone number out there to the universe, because now is the time, and we just want to, get it out there. I understand.
I mean, Max, that's one of my favorite songs that you played right there.
Good.
So I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling the love. If you want to hear the show, go to understandingcbd.com. I don't know if you knew this, if you are listening to the radio, but next time you can listen to it from your phone, your smartphone, anywhere you have internet access. You can listen to us live. With a link there on the page, and also listen to any other episodes.
That's right. You can also catch us on every podcast service has our show now at this point, I believe. And you can also catch us, if you want to see our wonderful faces, you can catch us on YouTube. Actually, go to understandingcbd.com, and there's a video section there, and you can see these shows on YouTube, and you can see our faces.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Click. Perfect.
Ding, right?
Ding.
That's what you do. Max.
Yes.
Tell me about the song you chose today.
I mean, who doesn't like U2, man? 1984. The song, so the name
was that
of
it came out in 1984?
1984.
Oh.
It's about Martin Luther King Jr., and it's interesting. The name of the song is Pride. We're in Black History Month. We learned that. We know that. And the song's just really applicable. It's in the name of love. I mean, what could possibly not be relevant today with that song?
Can't think of one.
And I saw you jamming out. I saw you. I know you were digging it. I think Janelle was digging it too.
Yes, exactly. We do have a great show today. You know, most of the time on the show, we're talking about things that you're trying to get rid of. You're trying to get rid of pain. You're trying to get rid of anxiety. Trying to get some sleep, get rid of your insomnia. But today, because it's Valentine's Day, we're shifting that to things that you probably could use a little bit more of in your life.
Like
things
what?
like love and romance.
And romance.
Right?
That's right.
And we have a great show. We have Doc G's Corner. We have Mail Sack coming on. And Max, I'm not sure if you remember, but it was, I think, episode 45, was it? I got it in my notes somewhere.
Episode 45.
Was it episode
Rings a
45?
bell.
Yeah, we had a guest was going to be on the show.
And what happened?
She got attacked by a
what?
Some like a kitchen appliance or something.
Some
I wasn't really sure, like a KitchenAid monster.
some
or some
wild
sort of
some wild kitchen appliance attacked our poor guest.
Oh, well, anyway, we want to bring her on. She's a writer. She's an artist, a CBD expert. Her works have appeared in Rolling Stone magazine, Forbes. What else? Vice. She's
BBC.
co-founder of the Full Spectrum Revolution, a cannabis publication dedicated to educational and lifestyle cannabis content. Janelle LaSalle, welcome to the show.
Hey, y'all. Wonderful to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I don't know if you know this, but we filmed this in Baltimore. And going through some of your works, I noticed, I knew I loved you when I read this quote here. Every day is a good day for a soft shell crab sandwich. Do you remember that?
What do you know about Baltimore?
It's a truism. I mean, some things in life are classics.
Yeah, and especially in Baltimore, you may not know this, but it's a big crabbing area, and the soft shell crab is a seasonal delicacy, and the sandwich you took an image of is absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. And since we're on the topic of food and diet, what's your take on thoughts on CBD edibles and eating CBD? Is that?
I'm a huge fan of CBD. CBD edibles are really fun because they give people a really non-intimidating way to just try it. You know, there are a lot of different ways you can consume CBD. A lot of people might try like oil under the tongue. And while that's, pretty effective, it's not always pleasant to just be sitting here chilling with a mouthful of oil. Nowadays they make some really amazing CBD chocolates. Like, they make ones with adaptogens and nootropics added, which are basically usually other plants. They can be things like ashwagandha, they can be maca, basically as many feel-good plants that you can add into a mixture. So on their own, fantastic. These new kinds that are being modified to have extra herbs, also wonderful. And honestly, no better way to get into a romantic mood than have a little bit of CBD and just feel that chill just go through you.
Nice, Janelle. And I like the way when you talked about edibles, you talked about some ingredients that were also natural, because a lot of times when people think of an edible, they think of maybe a gummy that they have at the gas station right in the windows, stacked up there, stuck to there with, gummies. They'll help you sleep. And if you actually turn the back of the package, there's none of that natural stuff that you talked about there. And I know you've done some reviews on stuff. Do you have any advice on what to look for in edibles or what to stay away from?
Yeah, actually. So one of the sites that I contribute to is Leaf Report. Leaf Report is a fantastic educational website, just like the Full Spectrum Revolution. They have a really good amount of resources for people who are like, I want to buy CBD products, but I'm not really sure what to look for or how to tell if this is a quality product. They have a buyer's guide on there that's just a really good overview. But just to keep it short and snappy, you basically want to be looking for brands that are transparent. So I get the appeal of that gas station stuff. You're like, oh, it's here. Why not? Try it. Don't try it. Don't do it. Go out, go to a dispensary, go online, look for brands that talk about what's in it, that talk about the extraction method, that talk about where the hemp is sourced, that have lab reports. I think that's the most important part. A lot of people don't realize that because the industry is totally unregulated right now, brands are kind of in a position that they can put whatever they want in there. There's nobody who's going to come down. There's no FDA going to slap them. So it's more important than ever for the consumer to take it on themselves and figure out, like a lab report is basically analysis of what's in the edible, and it tells you, okay, there's this much CBD, it's been tested for pesticides, it's been tested for heavy metals. I would say that's the number one thing to look for when you're buying an edible is make sure it has a lab report that's at least a year old.
Janelle, I mean, we know you're a super creative person. We knew that when we first met you and talked to you. I mean, you're an artist, you're a writer. Question, how the passion with cannabis and CBD? How did you discover that you wanted to go in that direction?
I actually discovered from the patient side. Myself in my personal life was just having a lot of problems with anxiety and depression. So many of us do, just quietly. And I was really looking for things that were new. I had tried conventional pharmaceuticals. I had tried SSRIs, anti-anxiety, benzos, and all of that stuff just made me feel worse. Every pill, every doctor. So I started looking for a natural remedy. And I started experimenting with CBD, and I thought, okay, how can I learn more about this? I'm going to be a bud tender.
Nice.
So I started working in dispensaries, and that's kind of where my little blossoming affection for CBD turned into this whole thing, because really quickly while working there, I saw that there were people who needed medical advice, people who were coming in who were like, my doctor won't talk to me about cannabis, or I'm too scared to talk to them about cannabis. And they would talk to the bud tenders, because they were the only resource they had. And it became clear to me, I was like, wow, actually, there's a really, really defined need for some scientific information and firsthand research, which I just kind of made myself a guinea pig and started trying every CBD thing.
What was your experience with that?
The first part is definitely a learning curve, because here's one thing about edibles that people should know. Edibles are subject to something called a first-pass metabolism, which means when you eat them, your digestive tract is going to take away some of the cannabinoids and terpenes and other good stuff in there. Now, the loss of that is variable, but it's generally around 20% is what the research tells us. So me at first, I have a very iffy tummy. So I would eat gummies and eat gummies and eat gummies. I was like, nothing's happening. This is bunk, which so many people are really familiar with that experience, I think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I actually tried CBD sublingually, so the oil under the tongue, that I felt the effects strongly. And I was like, wow, oh my God, and started researching different types of ways to administer CBD.
Interesting. Yeah, because, I mean, ingesting CBD is not the same as ingesting THC. And that's another thing a lot of people get different. I mean, ingesting THC, if you get it a dosing, you may lose a day of your life in La La Land. You know what I mean? Which is necessary and fun in itself. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. CBD, because it doesn't have a psychoactive effect, when you ingest it, it doesn't have that sort of impact, the psychoactive or intoxicating feeling, and because it's absorbed slowly. Like I think Janelle's explaining, it's how I've sort of experienced it. It's not as instant, so it's a gradual feeling. It sort of lasts longer, it mellows in, so it's not as sudden, I think.
Some people can't handle that intoxication. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it's not for everybody. So I hear what you're saying. It's a little bit different of an experience. Lord knows we've experimented with enough CBD products ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
they also have you speaking of, before we'll get off of gummies, we got to take a break in a second. The Delta 8 gummies. Have you heard much about them? Opinion on that real quick before we take a break?
I've tried them. I've heard about them. For the people who may not be as savvy, Delta 8 is kind of it's an analog of Delta 9, which is the most common THC that gets you recreationally high. Delta 8 is kind of tailored for patients because it has less of the psychoactive part, but stronger antiemetic properties. So, like for people with nausea, it helps them avoid throwing up. And the gummies are fantastic. I love them. I've tried them. So much fun.
So you get half high?
They get you high, but it's a different kind of high.
Half high.
It's like a high without any of the paranoia. So it kind of it has the THC, like the body high effect, and it has the calming part of CBD, but it's its own unique high.
Hang on, Janelle. We got to take a break, and when we come back, a little bit more of you.
Yeah, guys, stay with us. Be right back. That song is for you, Janelle.
Yeah, what a song.
We played that for you. Welcome back to the show, Janelle. Everyone, thanks for staying with us. Max, welcome back to you, too.
Welcome back, Steve Wallman.
Reminder, we're live here at Understanding CBD. You can call us here at 410-922-6680 with your questions. We're here with Janelle, writer, CBD expert, can handle really any questions. We're here talking about all kinds of things, especially on this Valentine's Day, love and romance.
That's right. So, Janelle, being the creative soul that you are, I know that there's artwork involved. I know that there's writing that's involved. What would you consider your opus?
My opus? Can you clarify a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry. So, what were you most passionate about? Which piece are you most proud of? Sorry.
Ooh, okay. That's a good one. I would say probably equally for the science pieces and the art, because they're kind of two different expressions of the same feeling, which is curiosity. And that's where the cannabis comes in, too. There's a lot of cannabis, and then depending on how I feel, one day it'll be art, and one day it'll be a piece of research.
So you have favorites all the time.
I thought you were going to say the winning of the jerk-off.
The jerk-off contest.
Now, for those of the listeners that aren't down on this, Janelle, can you explain the jerk-off that you were champion?
Before we get thrown off the air?
Yeah, I was invited to participate in a cook-off at a closed optional resort in Jamaica. And I thought at the time when I pitched it to my editor at Vice that everybody was supposed to be naked during the cook-off as well. And I didn't realize until I was there competing that I was the only naked participant.
You are so much fun, I'll tell you.
What were you cooking?
Jerk chicken.
Yeah, there's the connection, right? That's the connection.
I needed that. Yeah, I needed to make that clear.
Yeah, Max needed some closure there.
Sorry, I needed.
Yeah, everybody. So it was a jerk off because she was cooking jerk chicken. You guys are sick. I'll tell you.
Salty and sick.
My goodness. But yeah, talking about passion and so forth, so because it is Valentine's Day, and I know something that is important to all of us and things we all can use more romance and love, how do you see CBD playing a role in that?
Oh my God. So if you haven't tried CBD lubes yet, you are in for so much.
Really? They have that?
They have that.
All right, tell us.
Did they sell those at Bed Bath & Beyond?
Guys, listen up. Hey, listen up, guys. If you guys are look, Janelle has her finger on the pulse. Have you heard she's written for Rolling Stone, BBC,
Vice?
Okay, Vice. Listen to what she. Okay.
Yeah, she knows what she's talking about.
Go ahead, Janelle.
Go ahead, Janelle. It's all you.
You guys are too sweet. CBD lubes are a lot of fun. You can get them in just CBD only. If you're worried about the THC stuff, you can get them with THC. But just plain on their own, they can really help with a number of things. Like, they help, in my experience, the research still, we need to do more work. But
yeah, we're not looking for your scientific evidence. We want to know what your experience is.
That's what Doc G's for.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We want to know your real world experience. We trust you.
Doc G,
have you used it before?
Answer, Doc
I mean,
G.
have you tried it yourself, or is this just what people have said? I mean, we want to know the truth. I mean, this is a facts-based listening audience.
That's
we
right.
just want the facts here.
We just want the facts.
I mean, in my experience,
Yeah.
they deliver this fantastic increase of blood. So it feels like warmth, just unbelievable warmth, tingling. You're kind of laughing. You're like, what's going on down here? This is delightful and unique. It helps increase sensitivity to the area. So for whatever reason, say you're on birth control, not as much has been happening downstairs, really good thing to try out. You'll suddenly feel, in my experience, definitely on sensitivity, increased flow, more lubrication, naturally speaking. It works on every front. It's just a ton of fun.
Wow, that's great. You know, I hadn't even thought of that.
I mean, okay. And my question is, so the products. I'm assuming you've tried some of these products. You know, do they have other components in them? Like, is there menthol in them? Is there things like that? Other things?
Oh, that would.
I'm just, I'm asking the question. We want the facts.
What other ingredients would there be in that? Well,
capsaicin.
I would stay away from the menthol and capsaicin.
I would hope so.
So the way the lubes work is they interact with the mucosal membrane, and for those reasons, things like menthol and capsaicin, really bad ideas. The lubes are typically in MCT oil, a lot of them, which is a type of coconut oil, medium chain triglyceride.
Mm-hmm.
Works really well with cannabinoids, so if you find a product like that, that's ace. They can contain other things too, like I've seen ones that contain tea tree oil to help with the natural bacterial environment. They can come with basically a couple of different ones that have herbal formulations as well. But I think generally they tend to just be just the oil that carries the CBD and the CBD itself.
Oh, so it's not not specifically a lube product, maybe, otherwise, unless it's marketed that way. But it could just be the same thing that's in a tincture, basically.
It could. There are actually
Max, you can put CBD drops right down there.
There are companies that do
right down where
based extraction so that you can use them topically. So theoretically, it could be the same thing if you don't have stuff added.
Right. So as far as absorption goes and serving sizes, I would imagine if you have a individually packaged lube would be one way of doing it. But our customers use our products on their pets, under their tongue. Some of them put them on their hairline because they think that helps. Hey, look, people use it. They put it on their feet before they put on their high heels. People use it and that's how it's just whole plant extract loaded with terpenes. Serving size, what do you put, 1 or 2 drops? And would you expect any absorption into the bloodstream? And of course, we're talking about you personally here, or for females. But what about for males? Mm-hmm. The males. I mean.
It's a little trickier, but I think the evidence is that it's definitely localized. I think it does go throughout your entire bloodstream. For men, the research isn't there yet, so that's kind of a big question mark.
All right, well, there's a lot more research to do.
So you men out there that want to try it, call us. Let us know how it goes for you.
Yes, I may or may not try that later, Max.
You may or may not try that
but
later.
when we're also talking about CBD lube sounds like a great idea, and I think that's another use for it. What about other areas of CBD outside of a topical, like in relationship and so forth? Because I know communication a lot of times is hard, and I know sometimes when I first met. I met Linda, my girlfriend, at the yoga studio. I was a little bit nervous, It would have been, we were the first time you go on a date. It'd be nice to have a little bit of something to take the edge off without drinking some alcohol.
Well, you could have opened up with, hey, do you happen to use CBD lube? You could have opened up with that question and seen where that goes, Maybe Linda would have been receptive.
Do people use it for that too, to help with relationships and like communication styles and?
Yeah, I mean, the way that CBD works is it interacts with our endocannabinoid system. That's basically all of the things inside of our body that regulate our mood, that regulate our temperature, our sleep cycles. So CBD actually is a fantastic thing to use as liquid courage in lieu of alcohol because it helps regulate your mood. So whether your mood is really volatile or low, it restores it to balance at a homeostatic level.
Yeah, no.
Me and my partner actually smoke a bowl when we when we fight. We smoke a bowl of CBD, and that helps mitigate things a lot.
That's a really important point because all joking aside, I mean, the best way that I've ever described CBD, for myself especially, is it just takes the edge off, you know? It just allows you to be a little bit more receptive to some other ideas, you know, some more conversations, your waves are open kind of thing. I mean, that's how I see it. You know, and you know, to your point about, I know you're passionate about full spectrum, you know, and I wanted to get into that because I know that there's a lot of products out there. Some of them are CBD isolate, this, that, and the other, and we don't have to go too technical, but why full spectrum?
So research has actually shown that full spectrum, which is all of the plants, cannabinoids, and terpenes being present, it doesn't taper off in effect in a dose-dependent way. And what that means is isolate only works up until a certain point. Say you take 100 milligrams of isolate, you feel an effect. You could take 200, and it's going to be the same level of effect. It's not going to increase. With a full spectrum extract, it increases dose dependently. So there's no cap on the therapeutic effect. If you take 50, that'll be one thing. But if you take 100, you'll have more positive effect.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is it time for the Midway? So if you're just joining us, this is Understanding CBD. I'm Max Sobel. You want to say your name?
I'm Stephen Wallman.
And our guest, Janelle LaSalle, is on Zoom and on the radio with us, and we're talking about some of her favorite things that she's most passionate about.
Yeah,
right?
and love and relationship, and especially when it comes to CBD and you know, the personal stories. Janelle, what part of the country are you in?
I'm based in Portland, Oregon.
In Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool on the other side of town here.
That's Bigfoot country, right? Don't they have Bigfoot out
what's
in
anything going on there for Valentine's Day? I know events are somewhat limited all around, but what's happening over there right now?
It's
Give
COVID.
us Baltimoreans an idea what's happening over there.
I mean, Portland is actually frozen over pretty solidly right now. The town is quiet, but that doesn't mean I don't have plans. I have
good for you.
Mushrooms and some cannabis, and it's going to be a fun Valentine's Day with my partner.
Very good.
That's
Very
nice.
good.
You writing any good articles now about CBD that you wanted to mention?
I am actually doing a piece on showcasing the women in the CBD industry right now for, I think, March. It should be on in a few weeks.
Oh,
That's
nice.
great.
We've had a few powerful women in the CBD industry on the show.
We have.
Too.
Yep.
A lot of local people here in Baltimore with the up and coming crowd here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love your recommendations. I mean, I'm basically here to spread the good word.
You know, we talked about, I want to ask you another question. I know we talked about the whole full spectrum concept, and, you know, I know you're a fan of terpenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to touch on terpenes a little bit and your favorite one or two or 10?
This is an excellent question. So terpenes are the aromatic compounds found in cannabis and other plants. They have their own unique and therapeutic effects. I am a pinene junkie. Pinene is the main terpene that you find when you go into a pine forest. It's actually a phenomenon called forest bathing, which is very therapeutic. You go into a forest, and the part of that is the pinene. Pinene, one of its unique properties is the bronchodilator, so it actually expands your lungs and kind of gives you that amazing feeling when you walk into a forest. It also has a lot of anti-inflammatory effects, and I use it in a diffuser, and I feel like it helps increase my focus and my concentration when I work.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so with that terpene, do you target terpenes when you look for a product, or do you, like, how does it relate to what you're looking for when it comes to products?
That's an awesome point. I think the best way, honestly, for people to purchase products is to tailor to the terpenes as possible. Like I was saying, you know, in that leaf report guide, it talks about lab tests a lot. A really good thing to do, for instance, if you want like CBD for sleep, go into the lab report, look at the terpene analysis. If you want something for sleep, linalool is a terpene that's found in cannabis and lavender. It helps with sleep. It has anti-anxiety properties. So that would be the first thing. If I was looking for, say, an edible gummy with sleep, I'd look in the lab report, be like, oh, okay, in this terpene panel, we have a high amount of linalool. That's probably going to be something that fits.
Well, so what if you're looking at, if you're at the grocery store and you see the product there and they don't have a lab report, or let's say they have a lab report that says this is how much CBD, or it doesn't, and zero THC, but it doesn't have the terpenes listed, what should you assume at that point?
It's really hard to make assumptions because I've done an audit actually of over 100 different cannabis brands, and I found that sometimes a product may contain terpenes, but the vendor just doesn't want to pay for the terpene testing every year, so they don't put it on their site. But they might, if you email them, send it. But honestly, if you see something with a lab report that doesn't have terpenes, I would say you can do better. Go find something that has terpenes. It's not something to gamble on because it's one of the most therapeutic aspects of cannabis.
I think that's great advice. You can do better. You deserve better.
You deserve better.
You know, every day.
That's right.
Love yourself.
Love yourself
but,
every day.
Unfortunately, we're coming up on the end of the segment here, and it always goes by faster than we want. But I want to make sure that everyone can get in touch with you, and how can people follow up with you and have conversations, see your writing, and so forth?
Yeah, you can Google my name, Janelle LaSalle. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Jen Kari. You can check out my work on Leaf Report, some fantastic educational stuff there.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us, Janelle. It's been great talking with you.
Thank you, Janelle.
We'll be right back with our Top Gun, Doc G. Welcome back, everybody. This is your favorite show, Understanding CBD, the moment you've been waiting for all week. From Atlantic Medical Wellness Center in Silver Spring, Maryland, we have Dr. Benjamin Gonzalez. Welcome, Doc G. Happy Valentine's Day.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to you guys as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Good to see you, Doc G. Nice new mic.
Hey, thanks. I'm trying it out today. We'll see how it works.
You sound great.
Hey, it was great listening to Janelle. She's fantastic. Love her knowledge.
She's done so much writing on CBD. If you dig into her work, it's a good perspective to have, especially from Portland, you know? It's another side of the...
I can tell. All right, gentlemen. Well, I am Dr. Ben Gonzalez, and this is Dr. G's Corner. CBD, sex, and love. Well, now that I've got your attention, right? A few weeks ago, someone asked me in an interview, does CBD affect sex? I don't know if you guys remember that question, but the answer is absolutely yes. In medicine, we have known that the body has a natural CBD system called the endocannabinoid system. This system has a series of receptors and molecules, or locks and keys, and that triggers a series of reactions for nerve function, healing from injury, inflammation, and yes, sexual functions. Researchers have found endocannabinoid receptors in human sex organs with similar receptors in the brain. It is well known and studied that initial short-term use of hallucinogenic THC in marijuana can temporarily enhance sexual function. However, we also know that chronic use of marijuana decreases libido and fertility in the long run. No bueno, right? However, no bueno. CBD, the non-hallucinogenic compounds of cannabis, can actually increase libido and possibly fertility in the short and long term without the negative effects of chronic use. A full-spectrum CBD tincture can reduce anxiety and inflammation, which helps combat those issues that affect sexual function. The more chronic medical issues you may have, the more likely CBD will have a positive effect on you and your libido and sexual function. A Biomedical Research International article discussed how CBD is used to improve sexual performance, and another article in the Journal of Clinical Investigation talks about how CBD improves blood flow and helps decrease blood pressure. Though this was in context of cardiovascular function, there is an easy and likely translation of increased blood flow to the sexual organs. It is well known that decreased sexual function can be a sign of cardiovascular disease. So, improvements of blood flow using CBD can have positive effects on both your heart and sexual function. How appropriate is that for Valentine's Day?
Spot on.
A 2017 study published in Psychopharmacology Journal reported that CBD improves blood flow to that part of the brain that affects sexual arousal. There is a very cool neurotransmitter in our bodies, one of my favorites, called anandamide. This is a natural endocannabinoid, or CBD molecule, that your body makes naturally. Think of it as your bliss trigger. It influences pain control, appetite regulation, pleasure, and reward systems in our bodies. Anandamide is associated with another bliss hormone called oxytocin. CBD helps increase those bliss triggers along with other natural endorphins to boost sexual function. As Janelle said, her favorite's a full spectrum. That's what I agree with as well, a full spectrum CBD. Right now, because there are not a lot of human studies, there are no clear dosage recommendations. The best way to begin is by keeping the adage, begin low and slow, in mind. Start with a lower dose, about 30 to 60 minutes before sexual activity. Give it time to do its job. And if you have chronic medical issues, using CBD consistently each day may help improve those issues. Always speak to a medical provider knowledgeable in the use of CBD. You can call my clinic anytime, 301-622-2722, and ask me anything concerning the use of CBD for your medical concern. That's 301-622-2722. Well, guys, happy Valentine's Day, and I hope this helps. And oh, yes, CBD lube is actually a great way to bypass the first pass effect in taking CBD. In fact, proper dosing and absorption through skin can be very effective.
Good. I was going to ask you that question because it was still on my mind, you know.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks for clearing it up, as usual. Happy Valentine's
No problem,
Day.
guys. Take care.
Yep. Have a good one, Doc G. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome back, everybody. Understanding CBD with Max and Steven. We're at the time of the show that everybody loves called
Mail Sack.
You've got mail.
No mail tomorrow because it's President's Day.
That's right. But indeed, we're yours. Last chance to give us a call here live in the studio. The number is 410-922-6680. And we're in our segment called Mail Sack, where we finally get a little bit of an opportunity to talk about ourselves and our company, Max and Steven's Premium Hemp Extracts. And this week, we had an interesting call from a customer. Steven, you took that call, so I'd love for you to tell us that story.
Sure. Yeah, it was Deborah. She called, it was in the evening, and really she bought, I think it was 5 bottles from one of the pharmacies that sells a product, and she'd been taking it for about 5 days already. She wants it to help her sleep.
Okay, so she went to a pharmacy that actually carries our product and bought a few bottles because she wanted it to help sleep. Okay.
Yeah, so she bought a couple bottles, and she had been taking it for a few days, and she would take it at night. So she wanted to use it for sleep. And she said, it's been 5 days, and I'm not sure if I notice anything. So, of course, I asked her a few questions. Are you taking anything else for sleep? And she was. She's currently taking some medication for sleep. Still taking that, didn't stop taking it, but was also, added this. And I said, okay. And anything else that you're, doing sometimes when you use CBD just in general, because she really was using it as a sleeping pill. And the most important thing I brought up to her and I wanted her to mention was that, and really the way CBD works in the body, and you've heard it today from Janelle, you heard it from Doc G, the body has an endocannabinoid system. And really every living thing wants to be balanced. It wants to, they call it homeostasis. It wants to be in balance for optimal performance. That's what life is, survive and replicate, right? So when your body is stressed, it can become out of balance. And CBD and the cannabinoids from the hemp plant are, when ingested, they help the body balance itself out. Go ahead. All right, so long story short, she's drinking 3 caffeine sugar sodas a day. So full, heavy Coke, regular Cokes. 3 a day. So caffeine spread throughout the day. She was smoking cigarettes. And I can't remember what it was. She really wasn't doing too much to look out for herself otherwise.
But it sounds like she's doing a lot of things throughout the day that might be stimulating her body in certain ways. And,
Right. So my first thought was, if you can look at it as a harm reduction, like it may not necessarily, don't look at it to measure success by how much you sleep, but look at your life holistically. If you can, instead of drinking 3 sodas a day, if taking CBD helps calm you to the point where you feel like you don't, you can maybe resist it down to 2, or maybe you can smoke less cigarettes. I mean, it helped me stop using nicotine, CBD, because it does help with addictions.
And
Think
cravings.
of it, and cravings and all different types of things. If you think about it as a holistic product, and you take it slowly and steady over time, it's really what the body's looking for. It's a plant. It's been grown from the earth. It's not a processed product like most of the foods and things that people eat. So let's just keep it basic and then see what happens. Be consistent for 2 weeks. She had enough product there. She bought, I think it was five or six bottles.
Did she happen to mention how much she was taking at night?
She was taking a full dropper.
Oh, well, I mean,
night.
so yeah, that's probably not a good idea to start. Not that it's harmful in any way, but you're negating
She'd
it.
never used cannabis before.
I see. So
She just didn't know, specifically, if she hadn't taken any before, used any cannabis before, you always want to start with a small serving. So I suggest her just to take even if it's just a couple drops throughout the day, would be better than this, one lump at the end of the day.
And it's an important point for all of our customers that pick up our product from any of our partners. I mean, obviously our partners are knowledgeable people, but occasionally people pick up things and they're not properly educated on it. You can call us at any time and ask those questions. The number is 443-743-2444. I know it's not time to mention our number yet, but I think it's applicable.
Well, and I'm glad you brought it up, because she really felt like she was bothering me. She had that question. She also wanted to know if it was conflicting with the caffeine, that if maybe the caffeine that she's drinking or the nicotine in the cigarettes was canceling out somehow the cannabinoids, and that way it just wasn't working.
And I bet she was relieved that she actually got to speak to you. I know that when I answer calls from customers, they're really surprised that we answer our own phones, but folks, we actually do.
It is. And that's what's important about us doing what we do and why we do what we do, is so we can be there to answer that call, because it's important. And I told her, look, you're never bothering us. If we can't get to the phone, we can't. I mean, but for the most part, we'll get right back to you. And you're going to get Maxer. You're not going to get a call center that's going to try to close you for your credit card.
Right.
And that's really what most of the industry is. It's, give me your information, I'll give you a free product, give me your credit card, let's get you set up on an auto pay. We'll give you free products up front, and then, down the road.
We're not part of that industry. We're all about balance, right? I mean, ultimately, isn't this all about balance? It's about make sure that you understand that your life has to be balanced, your body has to be balanced, and use products that help with that balance rather than, what you may think you need, I think.
Yeah, well, it's true by our business, right? It's a slow, steady, building customers, building relationships. We have, even this past year where we haven't been able to be in front of consumers and bring in new customers, the relationships that we've built over the past year before have really carried us through. And the referrals have been much appreciated, and absolutely, before we end the show, we want to make sure we can thank our guests that came in. Janelle LaSalle, fantastic guest. Hopefully we can have you back. Doc G, great advice on how to use cannabis, how the body uses it all the time. I mean, we really appreciate that, and you listeners,
we're blessed, right? We have the best listeners, we have the best guests, we have the best partners, and I think that it's a testament to what we do and what we're trying to build as a company. We also want to thank, on that note, our sponsors, Max and Stevens Premium Hemp Extracts. That's right, that's us. We say what we say is in the bottle, Steven.
It's in the bottle.
It indeed is in the bottle.
You can take that to the bank.
Take that to the bank. The best way to reach us is hello@maxandstevens.com. And, of course, you can call us at 443-743-2444. You can also text that number if you prefer. I'm sorry, what were you about to say?
I was going to make sure we thanked Noah.
Noah, of course.
Noah on the light boards. He's been handy on the phones today.
He's been the king of the Blinky Light Room.
This is a flawless day.
Flawless so far.
For Noah.
So far.
Maybe he's been using our CBD. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Mr. Cotter back there. Hey, Mr. Cotter!
Thumbs up.
If you guys could see him, you'd get anybody watch that show.
Folks, don't forget to check out all of our previous episodes on www.understandingcbd.com, as well as any podcast service that you use. If you use a podcast service, we're on there. Just search for Understanding CBD with Max and Steven. Of course, check out all of our videos on YouTube, also accessible via our website. God bless you, everybody. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Special Thanksgiving. I love you to my wonderful wife, Victoria. And, I'm sorry, I said Thanksgiving. No, it just corrected me. Valentine's Day. Well, Vicky's favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Thank you, everybody. Right. God bless you.
Have a good week.